Alright, welcome back to my game table. This is Wildscarr, and I'm with Skytiger Gaming. Today I'm going to go over the rules and how to set up to play Thunder Road Vendetta, a game that Restoration Games brought back from the 80s, from an old game of the same name, minus the Vendetta part. It's based on the Road Warrior and Mad Max TV movies from back in the day. Basically, it's a racing game that has a little bit of combat, explosions, shooting, ramming, slamming, and pretty much a race to the finish line. So I'll go ahead and there's a few different versions of the game. This is only the base game, the retail version. I don't have any of the expansions for it. Not sure if I'm going to pick those up yet or not, but the base game comes with 4 different command boards, 12 different dashboards for each car. Each dashboard represents one of the colors of the cars. Comes with 12 different cars, 4 helicopters. Comes with the dice that are the same colors that correspond. So each player is going to get 1 command board of the color they choose, 3 dashboards, 1 for the small car, the medium car, and the large car, 1 helicopter of their same color, and 4 6-sided dice of their same color. The other 6 dice, or the other 5 dice you see here that are still 6-sided, you have a road die, a stunt die, a shooting die, a slam die, and a direction die. And I'll explain those shortly. There's also 5 different road tiles. You set them up, and when I show you how to set it up, each one of these are also double-sided. So you have effectively 10 different boards that you can play with and mix and match and change up. The only ones that will be the same each time will be the starting board, and those are the ones with the numbers. It's also the one at the top that's listed as Chapter 1A. You flip it over and it says Chapter 1B. So, as you can see, they are different. Like this one's basically a straight road with dirt and mud on the sides. You flip it over, the road gets a little bit wider and narrows down to the small spark part. The numbers on these hazards are specific to the number of people that you're going to play in the game. You can play 2 to 4 player, at least in the base game, because that's all the cars they come with. This part up here, this is the finish line. Once you reach the last tile in a 2-player game, or 3 or 4 player, once one of the players are eliminated, you put this on the end of the last one, and that becomes the finish line that you're trying to race to. It too is also double-sided, so you can choose whichever side. Doesn't matter, it means the same thing. While you're racing along the boards, you're going to come across hazard tokens. There are wrecks, mines, road tiles, mud, and oil, and I'll go over each one of those. The wrecks will basically be replaced with these here that are basically wrecked vehicles. They just an obstacle. That means it's going to function just like a slam, and I'll explain that when I get the board all set up. Mines, these are going to cause 1 damage to the vehicle that hits it, and I'll go over damage in just a moment. Each vehicle can take 2 damage before they become inoperable, and the damage does different things depending on which one you draw. The road tiles function just like the tiles on the road. The mud functions just like the mud that you would find on the road. It just adds to it. And the oil slicks, for the oil slicks, you will roll the direction dice, and whichever direction you're sent off in, you go in that direction on the board, and then you can keep going after that. The damages for each one There are dents, which means it just gives it damage. No, nothing additional happens. There's shrapnel, which means a piece of your car breaks off and flies off in a random direction determined by the direction die. And then if it hits anything in that direction, then it will take a damage and you resolve another damage on the other vehicle. The skid works just like the direction dice, but each one has the direction that they're going to be going in on the damage. Dazed works by rolling the stunt die and the direction die. Depending on what you roll, the car is going to, depending on what you roll on the stunt die, your car is going to go in that many. For example, if you roll a 4, then you're going to roll the direction die 4 times and move your car in the direction and resolve whatever happens through that chain of events. Blast off works similar to Daze. However, if you roll a 4, you fly over whatever it is and land on the space however many far apart. It's like you're jumping over everything. And that's how those damages work. So let me go ahead and set the board up and we'll come back in just a moment. And there we are. This is how you pretty much set up for the game. Each player takes all of their cars and puts them down in the starting area, pretty much just off the board. Doesn't matter what order, that's just where they go. And then each player takes their position and their tile and sets them up. You have your command card and then your player cards spread out, small, medium, or large, medium, small, however you want to do it. The damage tiles, you're going to take them, basically flip them over. You're going to shuffle them all up like this. Get them all nice and shuffled, all out like that. And then once you get them nice and good and shuffled, there you go. You put them into 2 separate piles. You can take one set, put them on the other side of the board within easy reach of each player around the table. And then you do the same with the road hazard tiles. You flip all of those over and you shuffle those all up pretty much the same way. Make sure you get a nice little mixture all the way around. And then again, and there you go. You have a nice pile of road hazard tokens. You take the road hazard tokens and then you will put them off to the side, and then you take them one at a time and you just place them on top of each X or each hazard marker like this until you get all the way down the board. The difference comes in when the starting tile or the starting road tile will depend on how many players you're going as to how many hazards are going to be placed on them. So for in our example, for the 4-player setup, we would only be putting them on the ones that say have a 4-player. So this one and this one, the rest of them would not get one. On a 3-player game, you put them over the 3-player and it would look something like that. On a 2-player, it would then look something like this. So that's how it's set up. But for us, for a 4-player, this is what it would actually look like. So, and then from there, each player is going to take their dice. You're going to shake them up and you're going to roll them. And then whatever you roll, you have to keep them in that order. Because the first roll is going to be the ones that you use in your first match or the first round. All right, and after you do that, you add up all of the tiles. So we have 15, 16, 14, 18, I believe 14. Yeah, 14. Whoever has the lowest is the person that gets to go first, and then it will go in a clockwise formation. Also, the person that rolled the lowest will take the road die and roll it. And now, as long as the road die means if you start on the road, all your move is on the road, you may add the road dice to that and get extra. If you move off for any reason, you do not get to add that to your die. So, for example, orange is going to go first. You would then choose, I want my small car to go 5. And then you find your small car down here in the starting grid, and you just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because he started and stopped on the road dial. On the road, he may move an additional one for that road tile. Once that's done, you move it down to the end turn as a reminder, and then it would move on to white. White might say, hey, I want my medium to move 6. So you find the white one or the gray one, depending. The cars are white, the tiles are gray, whatever. White, gray, it's up to you. And then you can start on any one of these. It doesn't matter. Even though your car's sitting here, you could start way up here if you wanted to. And then you could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'll go over slamming at the moment. So if your car winds up on top of another car, that is called a slam. You will then take the direction die, which is the purple one, and the red slam die, and you roll them. For example, this here says the bottom car is going to move back 1. So you would take that and move it back, and that's how that would work. Now, size matters, believe it or not. If the larger the vehicle, may say re-roll that. So in this example, the white car is the larger one. If he doesn't like that result, he can say re-roll. So you pick him back, he can pick him back up, and you could re-roll him. And now it's still the bottom car is still moving the exact same spot. Sometimes that happens, even though they're supposed to be extremely random. So, and that's how slamming works. Even if you had additional movement, after you hit another car, the rest of your movement is forfeit. So the white car, even though he started and stopped on the road, he cannot use the road die because he slammed. Had he went around it, he could have added to it and kept going. And that's how that works. You don't actually take any damage from a slam unless you get knocked into something or knocked into a hazard and it causes a damage. Just slamming doesn't. And then once everybody has gone, so we'll run through them all real quick. So we'll say blue wants to move the small car 5. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, okay, one other thing real quick, because he can use the 1 and move off the board and go into the mud. Now, every space of paved road is 1 movement to move into. Every space of dirt is also 1 space to move in and out of. Or not out of, but just into. Mud takes 2 to move into, unless it's your last movement point, and then you can move into it just like blue just did. So, and then this terrain here that has a small double yellow line around it, there's some here, down here, across around all that. That's impassable terrain. If your car gets slammed into that, that means they are eliminated and completely out of the game. And we'll go over that in just a moment. Let's say the green car, he wants to move his large one 6. So green car is going to come down here and he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and he's going to slam the white car. So roll the dice. Now it means the top car, so that means the green would wind up on the hazard. Well, green is bigger than the medium car, so he can say, let's re-roll that, because he definitely doesn't want to do that. So now the bottom car is going forward. So the bottom car would go there, and that's that. But let's say, for instance, it was that and the white car got slammed into the hazard. You reveal the hazard, and it's a wreck. So you take this wreck off and you put one of these plastic wrecks onto the map, and it functions just like a car. So now, even though it's green's turn and green slammed white into that, white player is now going to take the slam die and direction die and perform another slam just as normal, and just like that. And now, and this can happen. So it's the bottom car is going to slam into the large green car. So now the bottom car is now going to slam the green car, and so the green player can roll the dice, or however you all want to do it. It could be the white, since white sent it into him. And you roll it again, and now the bottom is going to move. So the green car would move over here. And that's how you would perform a hazard tile from a wreck. And then the wreck, these just go next to the other ones, so you can keep them separate from the stack of hazard tiles that you have down beside the board. And then I forgot to move all these back down when the turn was over, just as a reminder. And then it comes back to orange. Orange is going to be like, well, I want medium to move 3. And then we'll go over the command cards. I'm going to go with, he's going to do a nitrous. So he can take the green, sorry, not the green, the 3, because you can look on these cards, and I'll just go over the whole thing at the moment. The airstrike can be any die. The nitro has to be a 1 to a 3, and whatever you put on there will add to the movement of whichever car you're activating. So it has to be used on this turn. You can't save it for a later turn. The drift has to be played using a number, or a 3, 4, or 5. What that does is the first car that you would ram into can be avoided, and you can continue your move as normal. Now, if it's your last move and you would land on the car, then you have to perform a slam as normal. Repair has to be done with a 6, and that's when cars start getting damage, and we'll go over that in just a moment. So that's how you play the different commands. So the order of events is you choose a car to move this turn, then you choose a die to play on your command, and you can only use a command once per round. So for instance, now medium is going to go 4 plus the nitro for 3 for a total move of 7. So the orange medium can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and wind up right there. And then it comes to white. White's going to be like, well, I want my small car to go 5, and he can say, There's not too many more places to move because it's all stacked up. So we'll go ahead and move 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then use the road die to move one more. And then so on and so forth. And that's kind of how the turns progress as you progress down the road. If you should happen to, say, wind up here, and somebody runs up here and slams you into here, you roll this just like a slam, and the bottom car would wind up over there. Even though you have all this other stuff around you, you could potentially hit. That would be good for the person being slammed because it's the bigger car. He can say, hey, I'm not going to take that. But if the person doing the slamming was the bigger car, then he could say, well, let's go ahead and re-roll that. You pick up both dice, and you re-roll them again. And wow, I am getting a lot of the duplicate rolls where the bottom car would move. So then you would move just like that. But let's say it was this one, and you got slammed into the impassable terrain. Your car is then eliminated from the game. So you would take the car and the player board, and you would completely remove it out of the game, slide it down, and now the gray/white player would only have 2 cars left in the game to play. Then after the first round, you can also start shooting. Guns are disabled on the first round, but after starting in the second round, any vehicle that is in the front 3 spaces, and the way it works is the front 3 spaces. I'll actually get the names of them for you real quick. So you have front left, front right, rear, and rear left. So anything in the front 3 spaces of a car that has a vehicle in it. So for example, if it's here, or here, the green player can say, I want to shoot the white car or gray car, whatever. And then you pick up the shooting dice, which is this one here. The larger the vehicle, the easier it is to shoot. The smaller it is, the harder it is, because the small cars only have 2 faces on here that can get shot. Medium has 3, large has 4, because there is in any space where you can shoot any car. There's the large, because that is an L, not a 1. So that means if you're shooting a large car, it would get hit. If you're shooting a medium car, that would be a hit. If you're shooting a small car, you would have to roll on this one or the any side to be able to hit a small car. So if the green car is shooting a small car, you roll the die, and that would be a miss. Now, if the rolls were reversed and the small car was shooting the big car, that would be a hit. And then you choose whatever damage pile you want to pull from. As you pull the damage off, you flip it over, and you see this is just a dent. And then that player would put this on the large right below the car tile. If the same car takes 2 damage, and I'm going to do it over here on this side. If the same car takes 2 damage, it becomes inoperable, and you take the player board and you flip it over to show that it is inoperable. And this is the large one for the white player, gray player, whatever. And then you turn the vehicle around to show that it's inoperable as a reminder. I've seen some people where they actually flip the car over. It's kind of an additional reminder, because sometimes the cars kind of look the same way, whether they're front or back. especially the big blocky van. That is where on the control card the repair would come in. So you would have to take a 6 and play it on the repair tile, and then you could remove one of these damages, put it back over by the used damage. You would take your player board, flip it back over, and then you could start using the car as normal. And then you flip the car back around. And that's how you repair damage and take damage. Now, let's go over the different types of damage. For example, the skid, just like this one here, if the white card took this damage, from this location, you can see the solid is where it is, the outline is where it's going. So it would move over here, and then you flip it over and you put it on the car, and that's where the damage would go. All right, there's, like I said, dents do absolutely nothing, just added damage to a vehicle. The blast off, this is where green car shot the white car, and then you roll the direction die and the stunt die. So it's going to go 2 spaces to the left rear. So 1, 2. And that's where your vehicle would wind up. And it's a blast off, so it would jump over anything. So if there was another vehicle here, it wouldn't matter what was here. You would keep going and land on the other side of it. All right. That's another skid. That's another dent. Dazed. Now, dazed is a little bit different. Here, we'll just do this real quick. You roll the same die, you roll the same stunt die and the same direction die, but it's going to be a little bit different. Now, that's convenient. So you got a 4 on the stunt die. Your vehicle is going to move one direction, so it would move here, and then you roll it again the second time. Now it's going to roll up here, and you're going to reveal whatever this hazard is. It's an oil slick. And then you roll it for the oil slick, and it's going to go right back to where it came from. Now you roll for the 3rd time on the dazed, and it's going to go right back to the oil slick. Now you roll for the oil slick, and it goes right back into the impassable terrain. And now this vehicle would then be out of the game. Just like that. And that's how the dazed damage can probably be the worst, depending on, especially if you're around a whole bunch of hazards and a whole bunch of cars. And it's basically a chain reaction that's going to start. The other ones, blast off, dazed, another blast off. The other one was shrapnel. So shrapnel would work by rolling, like let's say the green car has some shrapnel. We'll put some other cars around him. We roll, and then it's going to go off in the direction. So even if this white car was way over there, because of the direction die, a piece of this green car would fly all the way to the white car, and then the white car would take a damage in itself. So that large one would take a damage. You put that there, you draw another one, you put it on the white small car, whatever it is, it would do the thing, and then it would take the damage, just like that. That's how the shrapnel works. And that's all 5 different versions of the damage and how they work. Now, that's a road tile. That's mud. Mud works just like a mud space. Let's see. Am I going to find more oil slick? I've already explained the oil slick. Get some of the other ones. I've already explained the wreck. Now, mine. Let's say car lands on the mine. The mine is going to take just a random damage, whatever it is. So it would automatically take a damage. It would do the dazed, then you would do the dazed, it would get the damage and apply just like that. If you had any additional movement, that movement is lost. So road tiles, you keep moving. Mud tiles, you just take the additional movement and can keep moving if you have the movement. Oil slicks, you just slide wherever it is you're going, and then you can keep moving. With mines and wrecks, your movement stops. Whatever additional movement you had stops, and then you do the thing. And that's how that works. Now, as you race down the track, and once somebody reaches the end of the track, let's scatter these off. Put you there, put you there, and put some more up here, and we'll go, everything kind of like that after a while, right? The first person to move off of the track signifies that anybody left on this tile right here would be eliminated from the game. You take this tile, and all these cars are eliminated. You remove this from the game. Grab another road tile, or actually, you slide this one down. You add the new road tile to the end of the road, and then you put the vehicle wherever it went off, and then it can keep moving wherever it's going. If this was the 5th tile on a 2-player game, that's when you add the finish line, and then the first player to the finish line will win. The other way you add the finish line is in a 4-player game. Anybody, like let's say white was completely eliminated, even if white was eliminated before you reach the end of the first or the 3rd tile, you would then add the finish line, and then the first player to reach the finish line would then be the winner. The other thing I didn't go over is choppers. The way that the airstrikes work, let's go ahead and put some cars back out on here, and we'll explain how the airstrikes. So let's say orange still had some dice to play. So he would choose a car, then he would take any die and say, I want to do an airstrike. Then he would have to commit the airstrike. The helicopter comes flying in and can go to any space on the board. And you can even spin it and do the... And there you go. It sounds more like gunshots than a chopper flying, but hey. And then this is the orange. Say, I want to shoot. We'll be smart and shoot the big green car because he's way out in front. And then you take the road die, or not the road die, the attack die, and you roll it. And that would be a miss. I should have gone after a medium or small. But if it does wind up to be whatever target you're shooting at, he would take a damage. He would do the damage thing, find out whatever it is, and then take the damage. Now, if he gets the shrapnel, or the skid, or if he takes damage that causes him to wind up underneath the helicopter, he is automatically eliminated. Any vehicle, including your own vehicle, that would be found under a helicopter is immediately eliminated from the game. Doesn't matter if it's your own car or any car, you can slam a car into it. That's why it's you can actually use these to kind of bottleneck an area. You can pass through a space. So say if orange wanted to pass through, you can keep going. But if you end your turn under it, you're eliminated. And that's that. That's really all the steps to play a game. My wife and I will be playing some of these games in the future, and we'll actually do a full playthrough. But that is how the game is played. So if you have any questions or comments, leave them down, and I will try to get to them as soon as I can. If you enjoyed what you saw, give me a like and a share, and let me know how I did. Alrighty? Thank y'all, and race on and cause havoc.